Hey, what's going on? Ryan here, triathlon.com, and if you're watching us Facebook Live, we're live. In this video, we're going to talk about 70.3 Memphis and what your training load should look like about 2 months out from race day. Time of this recording this video, we're doing a live a little bit ahead of 2 months, but this will give you a good idea rolling into kind of start of September time frame. As you see in the background, the race is October 7th. What you should be doing and kind of what your training load should be looking like. So we're going to go through just kind of a sampling of some training plans that I put together that I pre-made specifically for the course. I do beginner, intermediate, advanced athletes. So this kind of gives you a look as far as my generic race-specific plan goes. If you're not one of my athletes, and you may or may not be similar to this, it just kind of depends on your situation. But I make these plans for just put it out on Training Peaks for people to use and to get ready for 70.3 Memphis particularly. So with that, we're going to dive right into it. Get past the screen on the background, and we are going to shift the background a little bit better for you guys. We're going to move my video because I know you guys love to see me talking, but I want you to see all the stats in the background so you see me move my screen a little bit. So on the left, we've got my intermediate plan, and on the right, we've got the advanced plan. So you notice there's going to be some differences between the two. As you can see, the total time to total duration, we got 4 more hours for the advanced plan. Sometimes it's similar, sometimes it's kind of a little bit of a different pace. Especially for this course, the bike is not super hilly. Lots of flatter sections and sections you can just get in aero position, find a good power section or a power target, or heart rate target, or whatever. And so working a lot of volume as far as the biking goes to get good on those long, straight, narrow sections. And then the run is a little bit hilly, but I mean, there's some sections once you get past the hills, you got some decent sections or at kind of a level situation. You kind of get some good pacing going. Did this race in 2021. It was a great race, rated the entire bike ride for me basically. So that made it a little bit interesting. And then running through all the flooded sidewalks there on the run, first half of the run, second half stopped raining, and it turned out to be a pretty good, nice little event. But I did get a little soggy. But unfortunately, you can't really take that into account necessarily in training plans, because I wouldn't shy away from maybe getting a bike ride in the rain. If it happens to rain, you can do it safely. Just kind of gets you a feel for how you can control your bike. It was kind of monsoon season in 21. Last year in 22, I think the weather was a lot better and a lot more cooperative. So can't really take that into account necessarily in your training plan. But like I said, back to the original point, there's going to be a little variance in volume, especially for the advanced athletes. Might be in this situation not necessarily more intensity, but adding a little bit more volume to get the muscular endurance to be able to capitalize on your fitness and everything during the race, especially sections where you can find a target heart rate, power, or whatever, and just kind of ride that as long as you can and comfortably, and try to get you to that point where you can do that for a sustained period of time with the training plan. So, long story short, short story long, there's a little bit of a difference in the variation. So, just kind of a 1,000-foot view, swim duration, about 7,500 for the beginner, 8,500 for the advanced. We've got about 77 miles, 80 miles for the beginner, 95 to almost 100 for the week for the advanced, and run distance 26 for the beginner, about 32 for the advanced athlete. So nothing too wild and crazy when you're breaking them down each one, but you kind of add that up over the different disciplines and everything, and you do have a little bit of a difference in the total volume of time that you're putting in for the week. So see, for advanced plans, we got 2,500 for the swims, and that's meters or yards. I mean, I put yards in here, but if you got a meter pool, you can go with what to work with. When you look at the advanced plans, we're doing some 3K swims, so a little bit of difference in the swims. And again, it's in Shelby Farms Park. There's a little lake in there. They call it a lake, but it's more like a big pond. There's no real wind, there's no real current, there's no real waves to deal with other than from the support craft. I think kayaks, I don't think they have a boat in there. They do have a boat dock, so maybe they have like a little boat floating around or something like that. But you got kayaks, and the other swimmer is really the only thing producing any kind of resistance in the water as far as waves or currents go. So just be aware of that. It's not super difficult. It is, if you're going to look at the course And I've done different videos on all the courses, so you want to get the lowdown details on that. But the swim, and let's run. The swim is a little bit interesting because you kind of do these little chicane type things, swim out, and you're trying to get 1.2 miles in one lap around the lake as best as possible. So it's a little bit different, so sighting is going to be pretty important in this one. So make sure you're working on that, especially if you're in a pool a lot. Trying to work in more workouts to where you've got some sighting work into the actual swim. But if they don't, I definitely every 200-300, if you got a set or something like that, just like a cool down, throw some sighting in there. For the bike rides, notice for the beginner athlete, I do have some strength intervals worked in, some threshold intervals, and you're about the same level. Advanced is a little bit ahead, 4x10s and 4x9s for the beginner. So I do got some good strength bike rides in there for each level. And then when you're looking at beginner versus advanced, we've got kind of an easy ride, and we're getting over an hour at this point. And then a long ride, you're looking at a more you're looking at 3 hours versus 2. So you've got a good difference in the amount of that long ride that I'm doing from beginner to advanced athletes. Now, if you get out there and you're doing the beginner plan, you're like, oh, this is a piece of cake. Maybe you can bump up the distances a little bit, longer runs and rides that are more zone 2 stuff. I definitely would not add an extra workout that's more intense and pile it in there somewhere to try to get faster or something like that. So just let me know if you ever get one of my plans, you have any questions. Always, my email's on Training Peaks. You can get a hold of me that way. You can comment on one of these videos. You direct message me through Facebook, YouTube, whatever you got, and I will try to get back and help you out. Run-wise, this is where the plans kind of vary. Usually beginner plans, I don't get into too much intensity as far as speed work. There might be some speed work towards the end of the plan once you build a good base of fitness, but you got some tempo runs, you've got some zone 2 runs, and then you got your long zone 2 run. Whereas if you look at the advanced plan, I've got some threshold runs, so we're working some speed because, like I said, there's going to be some sections you can put down some pretty good speeds, especially around the pond. Once you get up to the upper section and kind of the park area, there's some good flat sections. You can find a nice rhythm and you can really put some speed down. So there's some good opportunities to find some speed out there on the race course. So we got speed work in there. And then the long runs on the advanced plans, we have a little bit more where you're doing fartleks, you're doing some threshold little intervals here and there. You're doing some different things. You're doing some bursts in your long runs to kind of challenge yourself while you're building that muscular endurance, but also to change up the pace and do different things. Especially there are some hills on the run course, so there'll be some opportunities that if you want to maintain your speed, you're going to have to work a little bit to put that pace down to keep the speed. So that's kind of in general where you should be at about 2 months out. So, if you look at the beginner plan, the week before that, you're kind of in a build phase at that 2 months out kind of section. So you're slowly kind of climbing to the distances. The advanced plan, you are also in a build week. So my build and tapers or recovery or transition weeks, whatever you want to call it, there's usually 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. Advanced might get up to 4 weeks. Beginner, you might peak out at a 3-week build phase. So you got build, transition week to absorb all the fitness, build, transition, build, whatever. So that's going to be a little bit different from beginner to advanced. Advanced, there's a less time and less need for recovery because assuming you have a better base of fitness to get in there and do these workouts and do the workload, be able to recover because you've got that base you've already started to plan with. If you're a beginner, maybe it's your first 70.3, maybe done Olympic or a sprint triathlon. I want to challenge myself to 70.3 distance. We're building you in there. We're building that fitness as we go along. So we definitely don't want to overextend you getting into race week and then you're tired and worn out, you're not recovered, and you do race week and you feel kind of miserable on race day. You don't want that. So that's the reason why I put it in like that. So I know that was quick. I want to go through it, but this is kind of where I see yourself at. Everybody's like, what's my long ride at this point in time? For beginner, like a 2-hour-ish. If you're advanced, kind of 3-hour-ish. For the run, kind of 11 miles-ish for a beginner, and maybe a 12-mile-ish for your advanced athlete. So, and that's building. That's not going from like 6 miles to 11 miles. I mean, this is week 12 for each one of these plans. So all my 70.3 plans are about 5 months long. So once you get into this point, you've got a good base of fitness going. So I'm going to wrap this video up. As always, if you have any questions, put in the comments, Facebook, YouTube. If it helped you out, give it a like on Facebook. Helps you see more videos. If you like it on YouTube later, give it a like, subscribe, hit the notification buttons, all that kind of good stuff. I'm trying to get the subscribers up there in YouTube so I can make sure I reach as many people as possible. So share it up if you can. Got any comments, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you with that. Good luck out there on race day and wrap up the video. Talk to you later.